Here's a short story about a late 50s guy who learned not to get involved with the single MOMs, let alone marry them, after he discovers that the mom's loyalty is not to him, it's to her child, her man-child. And in this situation, guys, many of the stories I've covered are about dealing with these wacko, selfish single MOMs that have small children. Small children, teenagers. In this situation, it is a 30-year-old man-child that's making this whole thing a giant big mess, and this guy's done. Titled, I'm in a marriage with a great woman, but her 30-year-old son has to go. And now she's going to leave with him. Is letting this marriage crumble the best thing? And I shout out to AM for sending this story. Now listen to this. I've been married for 3 years now. We are both in our late 50s. I asked before we got married if her and her kid were a package deal, since it was apparent that he was failing to launch. She said no, and he's going to live with his father or go his own way. So right there, the fact that he had to ask if they're a package deal says a lot. Failure to launch. What in other words means failure to grow up. This guy should have known if he's questioning this man-child's ability to launch, failure to launch, he shouldn't get involved with her, and yet he did. Or marry her. Well, 2 years ago, he, the son, got jammed up with the law and moved in with us, supposedly temporarily to get his life together. It is my house, and we have a prenup, and all he does is create messes and hangs out using the house's amenities. What a loser. And that's very common nowadays because of parents enabling the bad behavior. After waking up today and finding half-eaten food all over my kitchen and trash all over the floor, I asked him, what WTF? Go clean that up, and he just closed the door. Oh, hell no. You guys watching this now, they're in your 40s or 50s. You got together with a woman and her son was at your house, anybody for that matter is at your house, and they're leaving food all over the place and leaving a mess and give you attitude. Would there not be an ass whooping immediately? Uh-huh. I told his mom that he has to go, and she said he has issues, which I've seen him freak out, and she says he says he hears voices. What a load of crap. Is it possible he's schizophrenic or something like that? Sure, there's a possibility. I think this kid is full of crap. He knows that mommy here will take care of him and wipe his butt forever, and he can act how he wants. And this guy was dumb enough to marry this woman. And by the way, guys, this is this dude's second marriage. Yeah, and in his first marriage, he got taken to the cleaners. Why these people do this, I will never understand. And now he has this freaking man-child stuck in the house. Makes me think of the movie Step Brothers of Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, if you guys know what I'm talking about here. Nope. They both need to go. He was bait and switched. So I said he needs to seek help, like right now. But he refuses. He said he doesn't want to work, and he just wants to hang out. I looked at my wife and said, what now? Smack! Should have smacked him earlier for marrying her. What do you mean you asked your wife, what now? This is your house. You're the man. You say, this is what's going on right now. She said that she will move out with him and we can get a divorce. Just like that. Instead of her pushing tough love, giving him a kick in the pants, that's it. I'll move out with him and get a divorce. Well, to be honest, actually she's doing this guy a favor. But the thing is, what is she going to get out of this divorce? Wow, I get that as her kid, but you just throw away a nice marriage like that. I'm coming to grips with it, and we have a prenup in place. We'll both be fine financially, but it makes you think that if she can throw me away that easy, then maybe I was just being used since I provide a nice house and nice things. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. The curse of the single MOM does not stop when they get to be in their 50s. And by the way, guys, I've said a few times that I've always said don't get involved with the single MOMs. But I've said, maybe you guys have heard me, that if there's ever an exception to the rule, maybe, just maybe, if you're older, like frankly my age, late 40s on up, and you met a woman who was cool and looked darn good for her age, and was a single mom, but, her child or children were adults out of the house and making their own lives, then maybe, just maybe, you might, depending on the situation, case-by-case basis. However, those adult kids could always come back to mama, so you got to really be careful. And in the grand scheme of things, doesn't mean you marry them. Says here, Has been taking its toll on other parts of our marriage because she said that she'll never be able to retire because she will have to support him, and we can't go away on vacation because she doesn't want to leave him. Man, this guy was bait and switch. So she already knows she's going to be working forever, taking care of this numbskull. And they can never go on vacation ever, so she can watch him. That kid needs to pull his thumb from his ass and get his life together. This is what happens when parents baby their kids. And so many parents, particularly the moms, baby their sons because the moms want to feel always needed and important. So they don't make their boys grow up. They're always going to have somebody that's going to need them. This is what you get. Man, this guy made a mistake marrying her. Oh, she was bait and switching him every step of the way. But at least she's offering to go. But she's probably counting her chickens that, hey, I'm going to make out like a bandit in this divorce, even though we've been married 3 years. She was also much more fun and carefree before he moved in. And now she's very reserved. I mean, I didn't get married again in my retirement years, not to live life to its fullest, in the 20 or so years I have left. I guess the lesson is, if you see baggage you can't deal with when you're dating, don't think it will go away when you're married. No matter what the conversation is beforehand, this just sucks. Well, it does suck, and I hope he doesn't get taken to the cleaners like his first marriage, which he'll mention momentarily. But the best thing he can do, divorce and move on. A lot of people in the comment section are like, give her a few months, da-da-da. No, this dipshit is going to be a problem in his life forever, and he should have known that. Again, just like in the movie fucking Step Brothers. But at least both parties had a dumbass son that wouldn't grow up, but still. Now, I'm going to read a very long comment he posted, because a lot of people said things to help him out, various things. He says here, thank you for all the thoughtful responses. I appreciate you all taking the time. I even chuckled at the lighthearted one. I'm normally slow to anger and have shown a lot of patience over these years. My knife hand reaction today was out of frustration, but the conversation with my wife was very calm and measured. Well, as a man, you got to be calm. I agree with many of you who said that she was making a hard call and she comes from a family of enablers. No kidding, she's an enabler. We watched The Forge recently where the mom had words with her son, and I grinned at her and said, see, some tough love. While the movie is about prayer and the kid turning his life around, he also was a fictional young man who wanted to change. Yeah, this dipshit doesn't want to change. I'm a retired cop and a combat veteran, so I can get angry easily, especially since I've been through a divorce before and lost everything, hence the prenup. Man, I will never understand how somebody can get married and go through hell and get taken to the cleaners and then do it again. You still people out there that think they are not meant. You still guys that think they're not a real man unless they have a wife. How fucking dumb is that? And I want to hear, I can't be alone. The guy's in his 50s, for heaven's sake. He can certainly see other women have girlfriends. Just don't marry them. I think the kid will always feel like there is a safety net right under his bum, and his mom won't even feign like he will fall in order to give him this a scare to do better. A safety net under his bum. What this kid needs is a foot up his bum to get his ass together. And where's the father in this situation? He's probably just enabling the kid too. I thought I did this one right and asked all the hard questions and tried to make sure we were on the same page. I love my wife, but as a lot of you pointed out, want to enjoy the rocking chairs of later life together without being bogged down by her son. It was his insolence that riled me earlier. But I've come to grips with the fact that this isn't going to work long term, and she's better off getting a place for the two of them. I agree, and when the Lord takes her home, he will be sunk because he cannot function. However, that will no longer be my issue. Anyway, I appreciate the replies, and thanks for giving me many angles to view this. Well, anyhow, yeah, the comment section is full of all sorts of comments here, but yeah. At the end of the day, he needs to cut his losses. He fucked up by marrying her and not really seeing the big picture. That kid is always, that young man, the 30-year-old, the man-child, is always going to be a problem. He messed up. But he has the opportunity to move on. Get the divorce. Hopefully he isn't hit too hard. Cut his losses and move on. And cut all communication with her. Because I can see her trying to still date him and keep him involved some way, somehow. And let that dude, let some other sucker come into the picture here. But we're having a lot of that nowadays. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of that. And at the end of the day, yeah, you got a lot of young men that are dipshits out there. They don't grow up. They're man children. But at the end of the day, the parents are a massive part of the whole thing. So any of you parents out there, make sure your kids, when they're young, learn self-reliance, responsibility. They get their driver's license at 16, if that's the age in your state. Instead of Ubering, they get a part-time job when they're 16 in the summertime, 30 hours a week minimum. During the school year, 10 hours a week. They buy some things for themselves. They learn what their money will go towards, stuff like that. They have a bank account. They have an ATM card. They have a checkbook. They learn responsibility. You may think, I don't want my son having to work because, he'll be working for the man his whole life and a slave to corporate America. Well, it's these early years that help groom them to be independent and adults and be self-reliant. And if you don't, you're going to have ass clowns like this dipshit in the story keeping you from ever retiring and having to worry about them your whole fucking life. There you go.